Hi there. Welcome back to day 2 of the course, How to Stop Worrying About Your Patients. If you haven't yet signed up, please go to joanchanmd.com/course to get the written version of this delivered to your email inbox every day. Day 2. I have this patient who has a condition with a treatable solution. I have seen her many times over the years, and she never consistently takes the treatment which would help her feel better. I used to send her many reminders that she wouldn't go for the repeat blood work to track her levels. I would send her to specialists, thinking maybe they'd be more convincing than me, and she would cancel or no show on those appointments. I spent hours trying to figure out a more palatable version of the treatment so that she'd be more willing to take it, but she always had a reason for turning it down. It got to the point where I burst into tears when debriefing this case with my colleague. I felt like a failure. Every time she showed up in my office, I grew more resentful because she'd remind me what an incompetent physician I really was. I couldn't even get this person to take basic care that was available and accessible to her. Forget all of the patients who didn't have obvious solutions to their problems. I was totally hopeless in those cases. My colleague lovingly suggested that I had done all I could and the rest was up to the patient. I felt offended and defensive. I couldn't just give up on this patient. I wasn't going to be one of those cynical doctors who didn't care enough for their patients to fight for them. I thought worrying about my patient was how I could care for her. If nothing else, I could keep grinding until I found some kind of solution that she would accept. Sure, I was actually acting more irritable with this patient and losing the time and energy I could be spending on patients who did actually want my care, but wasn't that what a good clinician was all about? If there was nothing else you could do for a patient, the least you could do was worry for them. Here's the truth though. All worrying is actually self-serving. Period. Worrying about other people is only ever a worry about yourself. Your brain is designed to be a survival machine for your body. The only thing it spends time and energy focusing on are things that help keep you alive and thriving. So when we spend time and energy worrying about someone else, we're actually only worrying about the impact their situation will have on us. When I spent so much of my precious time and energy worrying about this patient, it was because I thought her continued illness meant something bad about me. It meant I was a failure and an incompetent physician. I had to face the fact that I really was only caring about her condition because I was using her health status as a measure of my worth as a clinician. We have to start thinking about worrying as the self absorbed, destructive mental process that it really is. There is nothing kind or generous about worrying for someone else. It robs you of your time and energy, which in turn blocks you from being as kind and generous as you naturally would be with this other person. It drains your internal resources and takes over your calendar. How much less time would you spend on your EMR if you stopped worrying about your clinical decisions being perfect? How much less time would you spend in the room with a patient if you stopped worrying about hurting their feelings? How much less real estate would you give to your patients in your brain if you stopped believing the lie that you had to worry about them in order to provide good care to them? This patient was one of my best teachers for how toxic the worrying equals caring lie really is. She helped me learn the hard way that worrying about your patients actually stops you from caring for yourself and for your patient. I invite you to pause and consider your worst patient worry. What is this worry costing you in your life right now? Sleep? Excessive charting? Distraction from your loved ones? How is this worry not serving your patients or yourself? You might be thinking, okay, Joan, I get it. Worrying is bad for me and for my patients, but you seem to be missing the important point. I can't just stop worrying. It's just how my brain works. It's just who I am. So now I guess I'm just doomed forever. No, you are not doomed. You can stop worrying about your patients. I have stopped, and so can you. Stay with me throughout this course, and I will show you that it is possible and what an incredible life in medicine awaits you on the other side of worry. Before I can tell you how to stop worrying, I have to tell you one more thing about why you worry as much as you do. Hint, it's not a you problem. Sending love to your worried brain, Joan.